I'm Frankie Tech, and this is my Redmi Note 9 Pro versus Mi 10T series camera test. Hi guys, it's Frankie from Frankie Tech. Good to see you guys again. And this weekend I've been working on a camera test between the brand new Redmi Note 9 Pro 5G, the Mi 10T Pro, and the Mi 10T Lite. Now this Redmi Note 9 Pro has the latest 108 megapixel camera and sensor from Xiaomi, the HM2 on board, and yet the Mi 10T Pro is also carrying a 108 megapixel main camera on board, while the Mi 10T Lite is using the Sony IMX682 64 megapixel camera. And we have 8 megapixel ultra wide cameras on these two phones, while the Mi 10T Pro has a 13 megapixel. With the Mi 10T Pro having a 5 megapixel macro, while these two phones are both using those 2 megapixel macro and depth cameras that I'm not really a fan of. And we also have 16 megapixel front cameras versus 20 megapixel here on the Mi 10T Pro, all capable of shooting full HD on the front, and 4K 30 is how we're testing the video, but the Mi 10T Pro is capable of 4K 60 or even 8K 30 FPS. But really guys, the story here is, how does this lowest cost 108 megapixel camera on the Redmi Note 9 Pro 5G fare next to the Mi 10T Pro and its global sibling, the Mi 10T Lite? Well, I was out yesterday for a late afternoon, evening, and nighttime camera tour, and I managed to take a number of photos. So how will this China-only version of the Redmi Note 9 Pro fare against its global Mi 10T series brothers? Let's not waste any time, have a look at these samples, and we'll talk about them when we get back. This is rear-facing video on the Redmi Note 9 Pro 5G, the Mi 10T Pro, and the Mi 10T Lite. Coming to around 5 p.m. here in Hong Kong. It's getting really dark, really early here. But it looks pretty good on these phones. Great stabilization on the Mi 10T Pro. As usual, hope you guys are doing well, staying safe. And hit me up in the comments. What do you think? And this is front-facing video on the Redmi Note 9 Pro 5G, the Mi 10T Pro, and the Mi 10T Lite. And overall looks pretty good on these phones. Shooting in full HD on them. I think you're going to get a little bit of overexposure right now, but pretty solid results, I'd say, from all three of these phones. Let's listen to the mics though, see how they sound, and hit me up in the comments. What do you think? So what'd you guys think? Did the Redmi Note 9 Pro hold its own? Did the Mi 10T Pro win it? Or did the Mi 10T Lite prevail? Guys, the one word that was going through my mind when I was doing this camera test was optimization. And you will notice in the daytime shots, the Redmi Note 9 Pro actually did a solid job. And there were a number of shots where I think it matched and even surpassed the capability of these two phones. But once it got to evening time and later at night, I could just clearly see the optimizations that had gone into both of these phones. Specifically, the Mi 10T Pro was just so much better optimized from this albeit brand new Redmi Note 9 Pro. And sure, things can be improved in software, but I really do think the Mi 10T Pro is still the best camera of these three, and an ultra-wide capability as well. And in video, you just noticed a level of polish from the footage of this Mi 10T Pro that just surpassed both of these phones. Now, between the Note 9 Pro and the Mi 10T Lite, there were a number of shots where I think the optimization also helped out this phone. But with better software updates, I think you will start getting some more detailed and just better balanced pictures at night with this Redmi Note 9 Pro. Now, all in all, guys, I'm not saying I'm disappointed with this phone, and considering the price of it, you really have to give Xiaomi props for bringing this 108 megapixel spec this down market. But the Mi 10T Pro is still the best implementation of this 108 megapixel camera, so my winner of this test is the Mi 10T Pro, and you can argue a close second between these two phones. But I think this clearly proves that specs don't make the phone, and you really need to have optimized software and just continue improving the camera experience to actually get good shots from the kind of camera that we see in this Redmi Note 9 Pro. But hit me up in the comments. Which of these phones do you think won out? And are you surprised to see this Redmi Note 9 Pro do as poorly as it did in this test? I think with software updates, things will definitely get better, but it was a bit of a surprise to see it struggle as much as it did in this test. But hit me up in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. And that's it for this video. If you liked it, give me that thumbs up. And if you love the content of Frankie Tech, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon for future updates. Stay tuned, guys. I will be doing my full Mi 10T Lite versus Redmi Note 9 Pro comparison in a number of other categories. Stay tuned for that. So that's it, and this is where I leave you by saying, this is Frankie Tech signing off. Have a good one. Specs, it's not always about the specs.